I'm joined now by Dhaliwal, who is the Supreme Cannabis CEO. Nav, welcome back.
Thanks, James. Always good to be here.
You bet. Nav, lots of big news in Supreme's universe. You hired a new Chief Operating Officer.
Yeah, so John Grease, we're really excited about that. So he comes with 30 years of CPG experience with big companies such as Frito-Lay, Nestle, PepsiCo, Canada, and US. But I would say the more exciting part for us has also been in the cannabis industry in California. So, sometimes it's a risk when you're bringing on people from CPG. They're used to normal markets, mature markets, whereas, we're still building an industry. So some of that comes with that combination of experience, we think it's going to be a very valuable addition to our team.
Sure. And then actually, I want to talk about the $90 million corporate credit line first and foremost, because that's an impressive coup in this market. Tell me how that came together and some of the hoops you had to jump through to make that happen. It seems like November 14 is not the most intuitive timing for that, according to what you would expect in the investment and climate that we've been in the last year.
Yeah, so I think a few comments there. Number one is, it's something that we had provided guidance that it was an objective for the company, and we achieved that. Two is, I think, in the current state the capital markets are in, with equity just being vacuumed out of the market, I think is a key accomplishment and really sets us apart in a certain manner because, the company's creditworthy. So this requires, assessment in terms of business plans, forecasts, and so, being creditworthy with equity markets retracting, that's a key step. And I think lastly, I believe we were the first company, post some big regulatory issues in the industry, that we went through a complete rigorous third-party audit on compliance with Health Canada requirements. So for us, in terms of just the regulatory aspects of our operation, our business plans, assessment of management, and just generally being capitalized in the current state of the market, it's a big validation for us, and I think it really sets us apart and puts us in a rare group of LPs that have Tier 1 debt.
Well, you bet. You won Brand of the Year at the Canadian Cannabis Awards. What brand won? The 7 Acres brand?
Yeah, so that's 2 years in a row. 7 Acres won Brand of the Year, and I think very well deserved. It's a the company. We believe the reason why the brand is so powerful is just in terms of the passion of the people that produce the product, and just a general belief in the ethos of it. And I think even more so is the success of our Jack Hayes strain launch. So it's showing how we can carry over that marketing ability, that brand building ability to new products and new product launches, which is you're seeing in the market is becoming absolutely essential. The consumer, at the end of the day, it's a consumer market, and if you don't have new and attractive products that consumers are demanding and being able to package it, brand it, and market, that's something we think always has set us apart.
Mm-hmm. Wow, impressive. And then you also, in your last financial, you announced 122% year-over-year net revenue growth. And so it would appear that financially you're also executing rather well on your building of a credible revenue package.
Yeah, so I think, thanks for pointing out the positives. Year over year, it looks good, but we had a 40% decline in revenue quarter over quarter, which you have to expect that in this market. We're still building a new industry, but I think the key stat is it's 33%, on average over the last 4 quarters. So in terms of the trend, we're experiencing great revenue growth, but also we're seeing a significant increase in our CPG revenue. And a key milestone for us is come January, we have the ability to put out all our product in CPG and in the brand. And I think what you're seeing in the market is a significant decline in the B2B market, the pricing, just the demand for it. So showing that you have to be a CPG company and you have to have strong brands, and that's how you're going to protect and likely increase margins over time.
Sure. Do you think that the Canadian Cannabis 2.0 CPG market is going to add to the overall revenue picture for the entire industry, or do you think it's going to take away from just the premium dried flower market that we're in now?
So I think in terms of looking at the aggregate market size, what's really going to add to it is just more distribution. I think that's obvious. You need more places for consumers to buy product. I think 2.0 should bring in a lot of novel consumers, but I think you should also expect big challenges, just as you had with the rollout of 1.0. So we see the flower market continuing to grow. In terms of relative percentage, you see a decrease, but you even see this in the U.S.
Right.
You see some consumers transition into more flower convenience products. So you're seeing pre-rolls emerge as the second most popular product in the country, which we see as really a flower convenience product. So overall, we think you're going to see a lot of challenges with 2.0. But in terms of our focus, we're still big believers in the flower market, flower convenience products, and in terms of 2.0, we're making a big bet in terms of vapes. It's going to be a very competitive category, but a big one, and so we're very confident of our partnership with PAX. We're one of 5, and then we have quite an exciting strategy coming on the concentrate side of things. So you'll see, small batch, limited drops. You'll see some exciting marketing campaigns around that, or educational campaigns. So, we're pretty excited about that rollout.
Sure. You're still focused on producing all of your cannabis in Kincardine, Ontario? For the most part?
So for the most part, in terms of our flower products, yes, that's our primary production site. And then just recently, about 5 months ago, we announced the acquisition of a company called Blisco. So when it comes to our oil products, we produce those in Langley, BC. And coming into the new year, you'll see that starts contributing significantly to earnings. Just even last quarter, did just shy of $1 million in revenue.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the competitive environment for all these new products is going to be like a case where, we're almost suffering from oversupply of dried flower products across the board? Are we going to suffer from an oversupply of, for example, vape pens and candies and all of this stuff?
Yeah, so on the flower side, I think it's too early to say if it's oversupply. Yes, supply is definitely catching up, but distribution's not built out. So without the, it's kind of, one builds out and it maxes out with supply, but until you have, real distribution built out, retail built out, like in Ontario, probably at a couple % of what it should be at, right? So that still needs to be built out. In terms of, the flower side of things, we still see that market increasing.
Mm-hmm. And the black market has, determined, or has proven to be a little bit more resilient than everybody thought going into this first year of full cannabis legalization. And Hexo's responded by rolling out this low-priced product, which obviously is going to eat into margins and probably eat into consumption of their more expensive products. Do you think that that is a sort of the reality of the runway that's ahead of the whole industry in Canada going forward? Is that more LPs are going to have to introduce lower priced stuff that can compete with the black market? Or do you think that the product variability is going to be the silver bullet?
So I think pricing is just one component. The informal market being resilient, it shouldn't be unexpected. At the end of the day, this is a consumer product. Consumers will make the choice. And if consumers are, in their perception, finding a better product at a better price, they're going to buy that. They're comfortable with that channel. So price is just one component. I think if you have inventories building out, dropping price, should theoretically help move that product. But in the grand scheme of things, if you want to bring consumers into the legal market, you have to produce a quality product that's fairly priced with, a great brand promise around it. And, there's still a lot of work to do. I think there was a lot of assumptions made about this consumer, not recognizing it's a very discerning consumer. And the informal market has produced a very quality product for a long time. So as a company, we really respect in terms of the history of what's got us here, and in terms of having a respect for the plant. So I would be very concerned if I had millions of square feet of greenhouse and now you see the market turning and these prices are going to be cut in half, 75%. So our view has always been focused on what's that end product we want to produce, and do we have enough demand to sell it? And so we feel confident about where we're at right now, because our premise from the beginning, we've been saying this for years, we haven't changed this, is this consumer is discerning. They want a good product, they want it at a good price, and they want the brand to stand for something, and I think we've accomplished that.
There was a time when you were actively developing production in Lesotho, and I haven't heard that mentioned in a long time in the context of Supreme. Is that still something that you're chasing?
Yeah, so overall that project's progressing quite well.
Oh, okay, great.
I would say, we've been very impressed with the team there, especially for that part of the world. So in terms of an update on that project, the EU GMP ready facility, it's designed for those requirements, is near complete, and we expect consultants from regulators in the European market to be there early spring. So the thing is, it takes time. Building out a large production facility, cultivation, then extraction, all to EU GMP standards, and then having it accredited takes time. But once that channel opens up, that's a really attractive asset for us and long-term supply.
You bet. All right, Nav, that's a great update. We'll leave it there for now. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thanks, James. Always fun to be here.